Welcome to Tobar's Realm. Today I think I'm going to start making a set of domino tiles out of these scrap pieces of 3/8 inch steel plate. What I'm going to need to do is get 28 tiles, about 1 inch wide by 2 inch. I should be able to get at least 5 out of these pieces. And then once I get them tile shaped, I'll drill little pilot holes with the correct numbers on each one and use brazing rod and a torch to fill those little holes and then polish them up to make steel and brass domino tiles. So I'm just going to start by taking this mill scale off and then start cutting them to the right sizes. Alright, I got all of the tiles sized. I had just made a little, let's call it a jig or whatever, a thing that's exactly 2 inches tall, so I could just grind it and match it with the top. Then I did one that was the width I wanted, ground it to match that. So I just ran them all through here and ground them to the dimensions I wanted. It's 2 by 1 inch. And I'm also gonna make a little thing like that for grinding the line in the middle of the tile. I'm just gonna end up welding these onto the plate so I can insert the tile, and then I'll have these little guides I'll weld on there too, so I can just slide a tile in, take the cutting wheel, put a little notch down the middle of the tile, and I'll do brazing on that line too. And now I'm to the point where I think I'm going to center punch all the numbers on there. So I just made this little pattern that I can do every number with, and I got my list here. So I'm going to start center punching to be able to drill those little holes to do the brazing on. Alright, I got them all center punched, and surprisingly didn't mess up any of the numbered layouts. And got the little fixture to put the line on there. I just did a practice one. I made a couple extras in case. So I'll just put that in there, put this piece on, and then I just clamped it and ran the cutting wheel through there. So now I'm going to go ahead and start doing them to all these. Alright, I got all the lines ground in there, and I did screw up one, which is exactly why I made a few extras. So I'm just going to center punch this one with the, what is it, 6 and 5, and then should be ready to drill all those little holes in all the rest of them. So Just going to punch this one and get started on those little drill holes. Alright, I got them all brazed. Pretty ugly right now, but I'll take the grinder to them. And all those holes and lines should be brass inlaid. There'll probably be a few I have to go back and touch up, like that one there. That hole doesn't look like it's filled up all the way, but overall I think they're pretty good. So I'm just going to let them cool for a while. And right now I think I'll get started on the little carrying case to put them in. Alright, just starting on the little carrying bag for those dominoes, and I got some scrap leather pieces I think I'm going to make the little bag out of. I'll do it two-tone brown and black. So I think the brown will do the bottom of the bag, and this little bit thinner black I'll do around the side. So I'm just starting making a pattern for the base of it, which I'll do out of the brown, and then the sides will be the black, and I'll add little handles and a buckle on the top. So I'm just going to start by working on these pattern. Alright, just working on the little leather case for those dominoes. Just got the pattern pretty much figured out. So the brown part will be the bottom, and then these corners will overlap. So I'm going to get started riveting these. I got some smaller ones I'm actually going to use. These are just holding it together, but I'll start getting these rivets set. Alright, just working on taking that extra brazing off, just taking the grinder and removing that little bit on top. Just put it in this little fixture and grind the top off. Alright, I got them all ground down. There are a few I want to go back and fix. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Alright, I got all these sanded and the edges rounded and cleaned up. I think they turned out pretty good. So next thing to do is I'm going to just wipe them down real quick with some acetone just to get fingerprints off them and stuff, and then I'm going to heat them up with the weed burner and spray them with WD-40 to turn them blue, black, depending on how good it absorbs the carbon, but I'm going to start working on that. Alright, I got them all heated up and sprayed with WD-40. Clean this one up. It's all got like caramelized WD-40 on it. So I just clean this one off with some rubbing alcohol. It's not super bright, but I like it. So I gotta clean the rest of these up. Alright, finished making the domino tiles. Got them all cleaned up. They're looking pretty good, I think. So now to move on to finishing the carrying bag for them. Alright, working on the little carrying bag for these dominoes. I made this smaller one and I started thinking that's too small. It's not going to be big enough. So I started making a little bit larger one. Now I'm thinking maybe this will be big enough. If I just add just a little bit on the top, it'll be about the right size. So I'm going to finish this one out, and I'll probably finish this one out too just because I'm already that far along on it. But I'm just going to add maybe about an inch and a half along the top just to give it a little more height. And I'm going to use this brown leather for that, so I'm going to cut it into strips, and then along the top I'm going to use this. It's actually oxy welding rod that I'm going to put as a hard edge on the flaps that'll close. So I'm going to start working on that. Alright, the little bag's coming together pretty good. Just have the top part about halfway done. I got that wire piece in there so it can close like that. This part I just have tacked together, but now I'm going to work on the little carrying handles. So I'm going to run like a strip like that, like a little suitcase. Alright, I just finished up the little carrying bag for it. Turned out pretty cute, I think. So that'll just go across and buckle there. There's all the rest of the finished domino, so all done. Thanks for watching. Until next time.